Welcome back to the Chasing the Monster podcast. I'm Griffin Aldridge. Alongside me, we got David Ian, and we got some breaking news. The Red Sox have signed Ranger Suarez to a 5-year deal, and I'm telling you guys, I love this move. It gives you a 1-2 punch now with Crochet and Suarez, and I'm a big fan of this move, and it's actually funny because we have a Chasing the Monster group chat, and David said in it to Lewis, he was like, Red Sox just signed Suarez, and he thought it was Eugenio Suarez, and he's like, no. And it's Ranger Suarez, but that was a little funny moment. David, you could talk about that one a little more. Hope
Yep,
you're doing well.
that was completely intentional on my part. The host of this podcast, Lewis, who unfortunately can't be with us here today, but he's enjoying his life, living it up in the DR right now. Me and him do not see eye to eye on Eugenio Suarez in terms of his fit with the Red Sox. I mean, I do agree with him that there are better fits out there than Suarez, but at this point in the offseason, we are definitely disagreeing on that. But I like to troll Lewis a little bit with stuff like that. Me and Griffin was my accomplice with this like a month ago, and Griffin, I think you were the one who started that in the group chat where you just said out of nowhere that we signed Suarez, and
Yeah,
Lewis was in Orlando. He was on a plane at the time without internet, and he was flipping out, and he claimed that he was asking passengers next to him if this happened, which I wish I could have seen that. But today I'm guilty. I said that we signed Suarez. I knew what the heck we were doing, and then first text message I just say we signed Suarez, and the second text message I say 5 years, 130 million, which I'm sure got Lewis's blood boiling, thinking we gave Eugenio Suarez a 5-year, $130 million contract. So that was all intentional. Lewis clearly not happy with me right now, but it's all in good fun. You got to have fun with this stuff. And I know my karma's coming at some point.
Let me quote what he said after. He said, "You literally made me have a heart attack. I thought we were Eugenio." So you heard what David said. 5 years, 130 million, and I'm gonna quote what David said. Love it. But I love this move too. It gives you a good 1-2 punch. But let's go through. We'll start off with David, go to Ian, and back to myself. What are your initial thoughts after this signing? Sorry, after this signing, because I like it. I like it a lot.
Yep. So the Red Sox finally did it. They were the last of the party in terms of spending money in free agency this winter, but we did it in a big way, dishing out by far the biggest contract. And, well, I guess technically not with the Bregman deal last year, but it's the biggest contract that Breslow has handed out in free agency to a free agent, to Ranger Suarez. And, the Red Sox added to their pitching. This was an area that maybe we didn't necessarily need to add to because obviously that's been a big focal point up until this point of the winter is the Red Sox bolstering their starting pitching. They made trades with the Cardinals and Pirates to get starting pitchers such as Sonny Gray and Yohan Oviedo, who will factor in the rotation at some point in 2026. And then we definitely have someone who's going to be a number two, like I said, behind Crochet, Griffin, and Ranger Suarez. So just like last year when the Red Sox missed out on Max Fried, Breslow went the very next day and worked overnight to get that trade done for Crochet with the White Sox. This is a little bit different. We lost Bregman, but a few days later we rebound and allocate some resources towards Ranger Suarez. So, I'll never say no to having more starting pitching or too much starting pitching. To be honest, I don't even think that's a thing. And I mean, good on Craig Breslow for correcting something that really hurt us down the stretch last year. Obviously, with Giolito getting hurt right before the playoffs, we relied on a 23-year-old Connolly Early to start a do-or-die Game 3 against the Yankees. Now we have a ton of depth starting pitching-wise. I feel really confident if we're going into a 3-game wildcard series with our pitching. You got to face Crochet, then Suarez, then Sonny Gray. I mean, that's great right there. So good on Breslow, good on the Red Sox for continuing to bolster the starting pitching. And now that just gives us more flexibility with the surplus of rotation arms we have now.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, I think this is a great deal for the Red Sox. I was a little surprised that he got 5 years. I didn't expect him to get like that big of contract, but obviously the Red Sox like what they see, and it fills one of the holes that that the Red Sox have been needing. They needed a number 2 starter who has postseason success, and I mean, I think it's like a 1.48 ERA in the postseason with the Phillies back when he was pitching there. So, he is an incredible postseason pitcher. And he's also a really great pitcher. He doesn't really throw high velocity, but he has insane command and movement on his pitches that I haven't really seen from many other pitchers in the MLB right now. So it is kind of cool to have a guy like that. He's an established starter in this league, and I would argue that the Red Sox now have the best rotation, at least in the American League East, with Crochet, Suarez, Gray, Bayo, Oviedo, and then you can also throw in Peyton Tolley, Connolly Early, Cutter Crawford's coming back. You still have Kyle Harrison and Patrick Sandoval. Like, you have so much pitching depth now. So it's like you just have a crazy amount of pitching depth now. And I mean, we saw last year the Red Sox went through like 15 starting pitchers at one point. Like, it was a huge number, and you never know what's going to happen. Hopefully everyone stays healthy. But Suarez does have a little bit of those. He's not really a big innings guy. Like, he hasn't thrown a whole lot of innings. I think the most innings he threw sometime last year, but he has like 157, I think, is his career high for a season. So it's one of those things where it's like, you don't know if he's going to stay healthy the entire season, and hopefully he does. But like you said, we just have an insane amount of starting pitching depth now that, whether you want to keep all of it or you want to trade him for somebody else, maybe a middle infielder, maybe a third baseman, you never know. But you have options now, and that's kind of huge for the Red Sox.
Yeah, and Ian, you just mentioned that, and you left out Tanner Houck because that's my guy.
I don't think he's going to come back this year. I think he's injured still.
All season?
Didn't he get Tommy John?
Oh,
yeah. Probably wasn't back until 27.
That's a tough hit. But I agree. And this addresses the next issue, though. You have so much starting pitching depth, because we obviously see Early could be a starting pitcher, obviously, in the mix. I think Tolley, we're comfortable putting him in the bullpen for right now, at least. But you have so much starting pitching depth. What do you guys do with it? Because I want to ask you this, like, who do we move on from someone? Like, you could give a hypothetical trade scenario, or what are your thoughts? We'll go through again.
Yeah, it's a good problem to have. I think the obvious one that everyone's talking about, I mean, first of all, a move has to happen. Like, this is not the last move the Red Sox are making. We're overstaffed in terms of our 40-man roster, so we have to get to that 40-man number. So a move is happening, whether you like it or not. I mean, the obvious move is offloading some of this pitching to get, like Ian was saying, a third baseman or just some sort of infielder and fill the need that way. I do wonder if, these reports coming out of the Red Sox after losing out on Bregman have to pivot and get more creative. I mean, part of that creativity, obviously, is this move to sign Suarez today. But I do wonder if we're going to sacrifice some of this depth to bolster the starting rotation even a little bit more, like create a super rotation. That's something in the back of my head, because the memes going on right now are that the Red Sox are just trying to build a super rotation every single game, 1-0, 2-1, 2-2. But I don't know if that's something. I mean, I'm sure they're definitely considering it. I mean, the names that Ian brought up in the last video, and Paredes and Horner, I mean, I don't know, if we were to take from some of our starting pitching depth to acquire that, how that trade would work out, how much we have to give up for that. There's whispers that we've been talking to the Brewers about Peralta. They're going back to the pitching. The Twins, are they going to reconsider trading Joe Ryan? I mean, I don't know. There's plenty of options. I think it's not the worst thing in the world as well that guys like Tolley and Early, if they have to start the year back in Worcester, that's not necessarily the worst thing, just to develop them a little bit more there. But something's got to give for sure. And what I also like about this too is that we can, get a little bit more aggressive with trading starting pitching in the majors instead of trading all these prospects to keep our farm system from getting even more depleted. So, it's the word of the hour for me, but I just like the options that we now have with having like 12, 13 potential starting pitchers in between Worcester and Boston.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm being honest, like I really don't want to move off of Early or Tully. I feel like those could be your cornerstone guys for the future. I definitely think Tully might be built more for a bullpen guy, at least as of right now in his career. And if I'm being honest, he's probably starting the year in Worcester. He only had like 5 starts in Worcester before getting called up to Boston in the first place. So, I feel like either he's going to stay in the bullpen and become, kind of like a setup guy in my mind, or he's going to end up in Worcester developing more off-speed pitches so he can be this like top of the line front center, the ace of your staff kind of guy. I definitely think if I had to say right now, Cutter Crawford is probably the odd man out, him or Kyle Harrison. If they could get a move that involved like Cutter Crawford for Isaac Paredes, I feel like that's kind of like because the Astros need more starting pitching. They did sign I can't remember his name, but they signed the Japanese pitcher that everyone was talking about. But oh man, I can't remember his name. I that sucks. But either way, they still need starting pitching. They need pitching as a whole. The Red Sox also, they have plenty of it. I think the Cubs need more of an outfielder, so I don't think they would need to trade them for Horner. But I mean, you never know what's going to happen. I mean, we didn't even think this Ranger Suarez thing was going to happen until it did. So, Griffin, I know you're a Celtics guy. Anytime Brad Stevens makes a move, you're never going to hear about it. So, if that's what Craig Bledsoe and the Red Sox are going to do right now, then maybe they have something cooking up that we don't know what's going to end up happening.
No, you're right with that one, Ian. I mean, it's true with the Brad Stevens take. I mean, and I'm very, it sucked the whole Bregman thing, but I'm still very high on Craig Breslow, and I like he hasn't, there hasn't been a moment where I'm like, all right, we need a new GM, like we need to. He's impressed me, and doing this, and I like what David said too, the super rotation. Like maybe you guys can construct a move to make this a super rotation because again, this is one of the best rotations in. I agree with the American League and the AL East, but I'm gonna say almost in all of baseball too. I think we have a really huge rotation, and I really am a huge fan of it. And you have guys who can go in Worcester, develop a little more if you have to, but I like this move. And but David, you want to break down the stats for Suarez because making 130 million, you gotta be a good pitcher for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So in 2025, with the Phillies, Suarez pitched 26 games. His record was 12-8, a 3.20 ERA. He pitched 157 and a third innings. That's a career high for him. He had allowed just 14 home runs, 38 walks. His home runs per 9 was less than 1. His walks per 9 was 2.2. His strikeouts per 9 was 8.6. His ERA plus was 137. So his ERA is 37% better than the average pitcher. That's just basically what that means. And his FIP was 3.21. So right in line with what his ERA was, 3.20, meaning, his defense did their job. They didn't screw him and they didn't bail him out. So very, very accurate stats there. And his record was 12-8 in 26 starts. And his WAR was 4.7, the second best WAR of his career. He had one All-Star appearance in 2024. And the big thing that's going around today is Suarez in the postseason. He is a proven postseason performer. He is in the postseason of his career. He is 4-1 with a 1.48 ERA. He's pitched 42 and 2/3 innings in the playoffs. So that speaks for itself as well. I pray this isn't like something with Walker Buehler last year, where Walker Buehler obviously had all the postseason accolades. I hope that this will be different. But you love to see those numbers all around the board. And it's a $130 million deal over 5 years, $26 million a year. No deferrals or opt-outs for Ranger Suarez. So he really, really impressive resume for sure. And I think he can be a great number 2 for us.
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot.
No, go ahead, Ian, because I was just going to get more, but go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say I like what he does in the postseason. That's the thing that is the biggest for me right now. Is like, because like you said, we were kind of a little behind the 8 ball when it came to the playoff series that they were in. Last year, Garrett Crochet pitched incredible in Game 1, but you didn't really have much after that. Brian Bayo, for as good of a season as he had last year, just isn't really the number 2 guy that you really need. And Connolly Early, like you said, 23-year-old rookie who made 10 starts in the big leagues up to that point, coming in a do or die situation. So, you have the pitching depth, you have more options than I feel like you even know what to do with, and that's going to be huge.
Yeah, I agree. And the thing about it too is this is my big push for this is, this gives you an experienced arm. And again, you guys just mentioned it. That's why I was just kept going in a circle with that. But once you get to the postseason with him, an experienced guy who could really get you over that hump. And I don't really want to say over the hump because maybe I will, because when we faced the Astros, we had some issues, and you faced the Yankees, and Early was just too much of a young guy and had a lot of pressure on his back. But I think this really helps you in that situation. But we go around. Oh, as I say that, we have a special appearance. We have a special appearance. So let me hold on. I gotta add him really quick. And
The one and only.
Yeah, you gotta hold on. I don't want to. Let me try to.
Hi.
We got Lewis. Lewis, just
How y'all doing, guys?
We're doing good. We're doing good. We know you're in the DR right now, so just give us your initial thoughts and turn your camera the other way.
Okay, how you do that? Is that better?
Yeah,
There
we
you
got
go.
you, Lewis. We got you. Give us your initial thoughts.
Well, I mean, that was such a, the way I heard of it, it was because of y'all guys, and I thought y'all were talking about Ranger Suarez. I was literally drinking a beer right there, and I'm literally right there. I'm like, nah, like they're definitely playing around. And I see a tweet about talking Suarez, and I'm like, there's no way. I literally, my beer, the cup of beer, I literally threw it on the floor. I'm like, damn, fuck, you know what I mean? But I was disappointed. And at the end of the day, I went in, I had to keep going I went to X and to see what happened and to see how much we offered. And then I see that it's about Ranger, and I'm like, literally turned into a Power Ranger right there. Literally right there, I'm happy. I got really happy. But I like this deal. I really do. We needed a second pitcher that is responsible as Crochet, you know what I mean? And Ranger Suarez has shown that in the playoffs as well. And just thinking about this year, not this year, oh my god, this wild card series against the Yankees, it could have been so different. It was Ranger Suarez. You know what I mean? So I feel like that's a big upgrade, but the job's not done. I am happy about this move, but no, the job is not done. We lost Bregman, and we need to replace him at least with a better bat. But for now, for the pitching staff, I like the pitching staff.
Well, thank you, Lewis, and thank you for joining, and we appreciate you, Lewis. But
Good to
All right,
see you.
guys. Have a good one, guys. Take care.
Take care as
All right.
we exit Lewis out of here, and we are back. But I'll have you guys go through as we'll just kind of give our final thoughts on this. So we'll go David, Ian, and back to myself. What are your final thoughts on this big move by the Red Sox?
Yeah, I mean, it was a great feeling just getting the notification from Bleacher Report on my phone today that the Red Sox made a move. The Red Sox made a big move here, and we got better today with our pitching staff for sure. So, very happy with the contract. Works out perfectly. Where if you are of the idea that John Henry and the Red Sox front office do not like paying pitchers big money after they turn 35, well, this contract expires when Suarez is 35. So we're getting a guy, like I said, with playoff pedigree, been in the league quite some time now, has had success last few seasons with Philly, has a great resume. Can't wait to see what he does with Boston. So very, very happy about this move and happy the Red Sox did something.
Yeah, same. I agree. It's one of those things where it's like, you finally don't have to worry about if the Red Sox are ever going to make a move, and now they have. So, it's very, very exciting that they now have, the number 2 pitcher that they were looking for, and hopefully, it all works out great. They've made, kind of what you said earlier in the show. It's kind of weird because they've made a lot of moves that I feel like they have gotten better in a lot of areas. And like giving Greg Breslow the credit there because, even last year, as bad as like maybe we could have thought it was when there wasn't really any huge moves outside of the Bregman deal, he was still able to get him on the 1-year deal, even if he ended up leaving. You still traded for Crochet, you traded for Carlos Narvaez, you got Aroldis Chapman. Like, he's made a lot of good moves. And even this year, I feel like, Sonny Gray move is going to work out solidly. Wilson Contreras looks like he could be really good here. There's just a lot of moves that he has made that, that look like they've improved the team, even with losing Alex Bregman kind of being at the forefront of that. So I get giving him his credit here because Ranger Suarez is the number 2 pitcher you were looking for, and I feel like he's going to be great with Boston.
And I got something for you guys. You could tell Craig Breslow was a pitcher because all the pitching moves he's done this year, which is incredible because and this is like and before we close out, I just want to ask you guys what you think the rotation will look like as of now, because again, we have guys that we don't know will be on the roster. Maybe they do another trade. We don't know yet, but I'm seeing from MLB on Fox, this is what they have the projection to be. Garrett Crochet, Ranger Suarez, Sonny Gray, Bayo, and then Oviedo. Do you guys agree with that? Or do you guys think maybe Gray and Bayo will kind of flip-flop? What are your guys' thoughts?
I agree with the first 4, and honestly, it could be Oviedo. I think that 5th spot could be Oviedo. Some people think it's Sandoval. I don't know if Cutter will be ready for opening day. I think he might be, but those are the 3 that come to mind. I don't think we'll see Tolle or Early there to start the season, but that 5th spot could be Oviedo, Cutter, or Patrick Sandoval.
Yeah.
I honestly think that Connolly Early has a better chance at that 5 spot than I think people are giving him credit for. He was really good, like really, really good for a rookie who barely had any experience in the minors as a whole. He played kind of the similar thing as Tolle. Like he was in Worcester for like 10 games, kind of similar to Tolle, and he got called up right away and made a really lasting impression. I think his command is similar to a guy like Ranger Suarez. His arsenal, the way that he throws, it's not all high velocity, even though it looks like he's putting on weight to get to that high velocity. But it's one of those things where like he's also a command guy, and I feel like him and Suarez in the majors together would work out pretty well. So I don't know. Maybe they go to a 6-man rotation kind of thing, and they choose Early as the 6th guy, or maybe someone, knocking on wood here, someone goes down in spring training and you're able to call him up. But I do think Early has a chance to be in the rotation sooner rather than later, even if he does start the year in Worcester.
Yeah, well said, you guys, and welcome Ranger Suarez to Boston. Happy they finally made a free agency move. About time, but with that being said, you guys, thank you so much for watching, and we will see you guys with the next one. Peace, guys.